Westworld Season 4 Episode 8, Ending Explained. Well, the season finale is here, and it's certainly delivered in terms of providing some clarity to the confusing yet thrilling ride that we've had throughout Season 4. Following on from the events last week where we saw Caleb and Frankie reunited, William setting off to destroy the very city that Hale created, and Christina questioning her purpose and very existence, there was a lot to answer for, and this episode did exactly that. So let's get into it. Here is Westworld Season 4 Episode 8 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The final episode of Season 4 picked up directly after the events of what happened in Episode 7 of the show. In fact, the trailer that we got for Episode 8 was essentially the opening sequence, so it certainly didn't give much away at all. As per usual, I'm going to break this episode down by the main character arcs of each character, as all of them met a different fate and contributed to the ending in a different way. Christina and Dolores. Well, we now know why Christina held so much power within a world that was created by Hale, and that was because the structure of the world that was built upon was done upon Dolores' pearl. We saw this when Hale removed it from the base of where the image of the city once was. Once it was removed, we saw that the cityscape was starting to break down around Christina. It plummeted her into darkness for the most part of the episode, and saw her disconnected from a waking world. We also got answers to the question around who left the maze of consciousness on her balcony, and it was herself. Elements of Dolores' life were breaking into Hale's world due to the fact that it was built upon the base of herself. She even felt lonely in the world, so characters such as Maya were created as a figment of her own imagination, and characters such as Peter were created by her, to almost allow her to understand what her purpose was within the world, to give her subtle hints. Even Teddy. Everything that she was creating in front of her was built off of her memory because deep down she remembered it all. In the closing moments of the episode, we saw Christina fully embody her persona as Dolores. Hale had placed Dolores' pearl at the edge of the Sublime at the dam, and enabled the darkness to disappear. This allowed Christina to be able to transform into Dolores and start the recreation of another world. A world which is a game that is considered to be one final test. Humanity was destroyed in the final season, other than a small group of survivors that were scattered around, such as Frankie and some outliers. But it became pretty clear in the voiceover that their fate didn't look that good. It stated that they'll likely not survive that long. We witnessed Dolores transform the world around her and recreate the park that we all remember from Season 1 of the show. She mentioned that there's one final game, one with the highest of stakes, survival or extinction. Bernard saw the end of civilization, and it seemed as though William's intentions were that of those to destroy everything, no matter host or human. But with Dolores now behind the wheel of what one would consider to likely be the start of a better world, where it's going to be created, where it ends where they came from, we're going to see the story of Season 1 potentially unfold again. Like she mentioned, a loop around the bend, where similar events could play out, but ultimately the end game will be different if things prove to be successful. If they don't, then sentient life will be gone forever. A line that stuck out was one that Maya stated. She stated, "There's violence and chaos everywhere, and you can choose to focus on that, and that's all you'll see. But if you sit still long enough, you'll sense an ancient order, a deep peace." I think this is going to be key to Dolores' world moving forward. The peace and beauty that a mere existence can bring, rather than the violence and chaos that will cause extinction. William. William was a character that I really enjoyed watching this season. I think it's the best we've seen of him since Season 1 of the show. We saw at the end of Episode 7 that he set the world on fire, in the sense that he wanted everybody to face off against each other, and for it to essentially become a survival of the fittest type of environment. A free-for-all where only the strongest people survived, and he was definitely one of them. But the real question was, why was he going to the Sublime? And well, it was because he wanted to inflict what he'd done to Hale's world there. Create an environment where it was like a game of survival. William even stated to Hale in the climax of his character's arc that he just cranked the world up to expert level, showing that he wanted to participate and live in a world where the stakes were high. We saw him state how he was the exact same as the human version of William, except he wasn't a prisoner to the human body, and it was most certainly true in the way that he behaved. We know that William loved a game in the sense that he spent most of his time in Westworld Park in Season 1, and we saw him ultimately mirror that same behavior in the back half of Season 4. However, he proved to be too weak for Hale when she destroyed him, along with his pearl after retracting it, making it difficult for the character to return. Hale. William was unable to destroy Hale in episode 7, and I feel deep down he knew that due to the lack of shock that he expressed when she spoke with him after being revived in this episode. We saw her being mended by the drone hosts where she had an improved, stronger structure that was almost impenetrable. However, we saw that she wanted to keep her face and her scars. We know that she'd struggled with letting go of the human form despite wanting others in her world to do so. And I feel as though she positioned the keeping of her face and scars as a way of making sure that William knew that it was her that killed him. But other than that, I think it was also due to the fact that she viewed it as her identity and didn't want to let it go. She found the recording that Bernard left before William destroyed him, where it stated how this wasn't the world that she intended on creating, and how there was one last piece of hope left, a test, if she was prepared to do so. The she that he was referring to was Dolores, which we saw she decided to do in the final moments of the show. We saw Hale set off to destroy William, as he'd be the only thing that would be in her way of allowing Dolores to be in a position of being able to create this newfound world. She set off to battle him, where we saw her newfound structure prove to be beneficial as he couldn't break through her. In a flashback scene, we saw Bernard contribute to the success of Hale triumphing over William, because he placed a weapon down that she was able to use, which led to her succeeding. Following this, we saw her enter the inside of the Hoover Dam system, where she placed Dolores' pearl inside of it, where the storyteller's transfer was complete, and she was uploaded into the Sublime. The last we saw of Hale was of her setting herself down by the water, where her true form was exposed, and she then took out her pearl and destroyed it. I think she accepted who she truly was by the end of the season. Caleb and Frankie. Caleb and Frankie didn't have too much to do with the wider ending. We saw them with Stubbs, where he was sadly destroyed in a brutal way by Clementine, as was predicted by Bernard, but we did see Frankie take out Clementine after being faced with her. We saw that Caleb was slowly dying and wasn't going to be able to make it out and be able to go off with Frankie. Instead, it was just herself and her girlfriend that appeared to be that of a few handful of survivors that were likely left on the Earth. We heard the voiceover that they may just gradually die out as the human race dwindled down, but as long as there's life, there's hope, and a chance that humans could one day return. That's the beauty of it, right? Season 4 of Westworld changed the game, and Season 5 is certainly going to do the same. A Season 1 style world within the Sublime is likely something that will allow most of the characters that were in the Sublime to return. And we'll see if the same events from before will end up unfolding and ultimately contribute to the destruction of civilization as they know it, or if the perfect world with order, peace, and beauty will be a fate that is favored and becomes a natural destination. We'll just have to wait and see. So, there you have it. Westworld Season 4 Episode 8, Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos on Westworld such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you want to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of the season finale? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.